Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. No problem. Okay, so we are going to start now. So I'll just start with some Mangalacharan verses and then we'll start the text. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatarine. Okay. So may I request you all to please switch on your cameras? Some more people would be nice. Okay. All right. So what do you remember from last week's class where we ended? We started with chapter 10 and we did 2 shlokas from Chatushloki. What do you remember? Nobody remembers anything? Okay, wonderful. Let's start with the 10th verse. So if somebody can read.
Tenth verse, no?
Yes.
Tesham shatad yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam payanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
So now Krishna is basically talking in this verse, this one and the next one, how he reciprocates with the devotee. So Krishna's devotee not only understands him about just by hearing about him, but they also understand him because he enters their heart and reveals himself. So it's not just only by hearing, but also it's a revelation by Krishna himself. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary says that Buddhi Yoga that he's talking about, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So this Buddhi Yoga means Krishna's direct inspiration. Krishna directly inspires his devotees to know him, to think about him. So this is Krishna's direct inspiration. Prabhupada in the purport says in the first paragraph, Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead and take fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is a process by which one gets out of the entanglements of this material world. And then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada says, when a person knows the goal of life, but is addicted to fruits of activities, he is acting in Karma Yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in Jnana Yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So Prabhupada gives very nice definitions of all three yogas. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. And then Prabhupada says, a person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if he's still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instruction so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. So does anyone remember about any such person in our Shastras who's not very knowledgeable, but by the mercy of his guru or by the mercy of Krishna, he's able to achieve success? Yeah, Kanchan.
Mataji, the South Indian Brahmana, when Lord Chaitanya was going at Sri Rangam, he saw a Brahmana. He was reading the Bhagavad Gita upside down, but he was crying. So Lord Chaitanya went to him and asked, why are you crying? So he said, I am illiterate. I cannot understand what is written in Bhagavad Gita, but my spiritual master has given me the order to read Bhagavad Gita. So therefore I'm reading. So everyone is laughing on me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I was thinking of the same example. Thank you. Okay, text 11.
तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. Translation. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance.
So basically, these all four verses kind of establish that Krishna is only known by devotional service, only by Bhakti Yoga. And now in this verse, he's revealing how he gives his mercy. He says that I enter their heart and destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge all the ignorance, the darkness born of ignorance. So Jnana Deepena Bhasvata. It's me who destroys that ignorance in the heart of my devotee. So Prabhupada says that towards the end of the first paragraph, even if a devotee does not take advantage of the literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The super soul, Krishna in the form of super soul, is sitting inside all of our hearts. If a devotee is sincere in devotional service, and he may not really be very learned, he may not have very much interest in reading the śāstrās, he may not even be able to follow the instructions of his guru to the best of his ability. But if he is sincere in devotional service, Krishna sitting within the heart will give him the knowledge. The only qualification that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. That's the only qualification required. So, how can a devotee not take advantage of his spiritual master? That's my question. In which ways a devotee does not take advantage of his spiritual master? Anandita?
Hi Krishna, Pranam Mataji, am I audible?
Pranam. Yes, you are. Go ahead.
Mataji, there are several ways in which a devotee a disciple won't like to take. Like disciples, devotees usually say that we don't have the chance to serve Vapu Seva. They always lament for that. But Srila Prabhupada and all the Acharya says that Vani is more important than Vapu, because it's not possible that all can serve the Vapus of the Guru.
And
So
also,
this is what
Vapu is a temporary presence, but Vani is eternal.
Yeah. And, and people, like I've seen devotees complain that I have not been given any direct instruction, right? Some devotees may get to propagate and to expand movement or to some area of temple. But generally people say that I haven't got any direct instruction of Guru Maharaj. But he speaks. What he speaks, he says that to preach and to, first of all the gurus says that to chant your 16 rounds attentively and observe 4 recs and preach. This is the preaching movement. It may be by way of classes or book distribution or temple opening or whatever ways, but usually devotees complain. So this is what the third thing, even if Guru has given all the instructions, they are saying, no, I don't have, so I will do myself whatever I want to do. A third thing that I'm just remembering is that usually people start contemplating. They're giving their own mental speculations. Oh, this may be like that. This may not be like that. And the fourth thing, they don't have the firm faith. Whatever Guru is saying, it will happen. They don't have the firm faith.
Good, very good. Harshita is saying not asking his doubts to Guru and not serving his instructions. Yes. And sometimes devotees don't even go to meet their Guru or even try to associate with the Guru. So, and Anandita brought up a very nice point that sometimes devotees say that I have not received any personal instruction. So if only the personal instruction mattered, then why is Guru wasting his time lecturing in a public forum? Who are those instructions for? If it is not for the disciples, who is he speaking for? And if if it was only the personal instruction that really mattered, then Guru doesn't really need to waste his time giving classes. Otherwise, he should just call everyone to his room, give some instruction, and that's it. But they speak, and those instructions are meant for all of us. It is, who else is it meant for? So that's a very feeble excuse that, I have not received any personal instruction from my Guru. So this is something to be aware of. And then in the next in the first, second, third paragraph, Prabhupada towards the end says, only by devotional service is the supreme truth Krishna pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. And in the last paragraph, he says, the pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious, because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. So what is the process of bhakti? Process of bhakti is to make the transition from being in charge to letting Krishna take the charge. Right now, we want to control what is happening in our life. We act as controllers. So to transit from that and to let Krishna control our lives, giving him the permission, giving him our consent to control our life. That's the process of bhakti. That becoming completely dependent on him, completely dependent on his will. Okay. Next, 12-13. Rishabh Prabhu.
Mataji, my question is, if a person is not taking advantage of spiritual master or Vedic principles, then how is it possible that he is engaging in pure devotional service?
If he's sincere, see, pure devotional service, you learn about pure devotional service in NOD. If a person has this faith that my only goal is bhakti, and the process to reach that is only bhakti yoga, I will not use any other process, then such a person is called as pure devotee.
Mataji, what we hear that bhakti even starts when we take shelter of spiritual master.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
earlier example that we take was that South Indian Brahmana who was illiterate.
Yeah.
But his qualification is that he at least, whatever the spiritual master told, he tried to follow it.
Yeah.
Here we see, even if we don't take advantage of spiritual master, but taking to the devotion service, it seems very
taking advantage of spiritual master doesn't mean that you don't hear from spiritual master. It means that you may not meet him on a regular basis. You may not really go and inquire from him personally, or you may be living in a place where spiritual master does not visit. So there are many ways of not taking advantage of a spiritual master, and it does not really conflict with the sincerity of a devotee.
Okay.
Right? So the reason I was having that discussion was just to like kind of churn a little bit how we, sometimes the spiritual master is right there, but we don't take advantage. But when Prabhupada is saying it in this verse, it could be interpreted as like that, the devotee does not really go for darshan of the guru very frequently, or does not try to get personal instructions from him. Yet he could be sincere. Yet he could be following whatever is required. He could be sincere.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. 12-13. Is somebody reading?
Yes. Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahostvam Rishya Sarve Devarshe Naradas Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Arjun said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narad, Asit, Deval, and Vyas confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me."
Yeah. So now with these verses, now Krishna has given a Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, and now Arjun has this realization. He's now realizing, and we can see that his consciousness is shifting. And he's calling Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now he's like, his consciousness has moved to that space. And also there's so much to learn from Arjun, because he's not just saying himself, but he's also quoting other authorities. And it's not only me who says this, but there are other very learned sages who also confirm this. So somebody may accuse Arjun that, you're very close to Krishna. If you're saying this, why should I really believe? So that is why he's quoting authority that it's not just I who's saying this, but there are other very saintly, very learned personalities also who say the same thing. And in the purport, Prabhupada says, in these two verses, the Supreme Lord gives a chance to Mayavadi philosopher, for here it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjun, after hearing the essential 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter, became completely free from all doubts and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he at once boldly declares, "You are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So earlier, Krishna has stated that he's the originator of everything and everyone. Everyone is dependent on him. And he also said that men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they're absolute and independent of him. And that ignorance is removed when one discharges the devotional service. And this has already been explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now by his grace, Arjuna is accepting him as the supreme truth. So one thing to note is by his grace, that anything that we can get to know about Krishna, if there's any revelation about either devotional service or Krishna, it is only by his grace. We should not think that we did something great. Yes, our endeavor attracts his grace, but our endeavor by itself really doesn't mean much. It is by his grace that we know. And then Prabhupada says, whatever Arjuna says in these two verses is confirmed by Vedic truth. Vedic injunctions affirm that only one who takes to devotional service to the Supreme Lord can understand him, whereas others cannot. So, and then Prabhupada says he quotes some different Upanishad. He quotes some Kena Upanishad, then Mundak Upanishad. And then from Mundak Upanishad, when he quotes, he says that Supreme Lord can be realized only by those who engage constantly in thinking of him. This constant thinking of Krishna is Smaranam, one of the methods of devotional service. And then he says that in the Vedas of the Supreme Lord is accepted as Pavitram, the purest of the pure, and whoever takes shelter of Krishna also becomes purified. So, and then in the end, Prabhupada says, here Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should accept the statements in these two verses, and that is called Parampara system. This is how we accept what comes in Parampara. Now that Arjuna is accepting, so whoever is following Arjuna should also accept these statements. And that's how the Parampara continues. 14.
Sarvameta dritam mane yanma vadasi kesava nahi te bhagavan vekti vidur devana danavaha. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality.
Arjuna is teaching here how to really, what is the mood of a devotee. A devotee accepts Krishna's words without challenging them, without any doubt. So here Arjuna is saying that I totally accept what you have said. There is no doubt in my mind. I totally accept it. And Prabhupada says, Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faithless and demoniac nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not even known by the demigods, what to speak of the so-called scholars of this modern world. So then at the end, Prabhupada says that when the Parampara system was lost, Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate it. The acceptance by Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and then only can we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, so the Acharyas say the reason Arjuna uses the word Keshava is because K means Lord Brahma, Sha represents Shiva, and Va means that Krishna binds Brahma and Shiva with knowledge of himself in devotional service and makes them his devotees. So that is why Arjuna is using here the word Keshava. So the Acharyas like to analyze different words and take out different meanings and to interpret it differently. So this is what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that that's what Keshava here means. 15.
Hare Krishna, Master.
Hare Krishna.
Swayam evatmanatmanam vetha tvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of God, Lord of the universe.
So there are many words here that Arjuna is using. He's calling him Purushottama, then he's calling him Bhuta Bhavana, then he's calling him Bhutesha, then he's calling him Deva Deva and Jagatpate. And Prabhupada in this last paragraph, second paragraph of his purport explains that what is the reason for Arjuna to address him in so many different ways. So Prabhupada says, sometimes the impersonalists accept Krishna as Bhagavan or they accept his authority Yet many liberated persons cannot understand Krishna as Purushottama, the Supreme Person. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama. Yet, one still may not understand that Krishna is the father of all living entities. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Bhuta Bhavana. And if one comes to know him as the father of all living entities, still one may not know him as the supreme controller. Therefore, he is addressed here as Bhutesha, the supreme control of everyone. And even if one knows Krishna as the supreme controller of all living entities, still one may not know that he is the origin of all demigods. Therefore, he is addressed herein as Deva Deva, the worshipful God of all demigods. And even if one knows him as the worshipful God of all demigods, one may not know that he is a supreme proprietor of everything. Therefore, he's addressed as Jagatpati. So basically, Arjuna is just kind of making sure that everyone understands the supreme potency of Krishna. Everyone understands that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So he's using different words and not leaving anything to interpretation. By calling him differently, he's just making sure that everyone realizes that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. 16. Ashita?
Mataji, it is about the previous verse. I still do not understand how can one be sincere if he is, not doing, like, Prabhupada says, if he is engaging himself in full Krishna consciousness, but he is not sincere. Isn't these contradictory?
Why does it say that? Which verse?
Mataji, I think in 10th verse, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, one verse.
Yeah, where does he say that?
So sorry, it says it's not intelligent enough to make progress,
Yeah.
but if he is engaging himself in Krishna consciousness always and with love and devotion, render all kinds of services. So, if he is already engaging, isn't he already advanced? And if he is already engaging, what more is required for him to advance? Isn't this the only process? And how do you define
A
sincerity?
sincere person may not be advanced. He may on the path of advancement, but he may not be advanced. So a person who's engaging in devotional service is on the path. He is not necessarily advanced. It's a long road. Yeah. So, and Prabhupada is just saying that he's making it very clear that bhakti is a matter of heart. It does not depend on intelligence. Intelligence is the brain substance. So it does not matter if you're intelligent or not, if you're educated or not, if you're literate or not. Bhakti is the matter of the heart. So, Krishna sees the sincerity in the heart and he reciprocates with that. So one should not think that, oh, my IQ is really low. Maybe I can't perform bhakti. So just Prabhupada is making it very clear. Bhakti is not dependent on anything. Bhakti is just dependent on sincerity of a performer. If he's sincere and he's determined, then Krishna will guide him in the ways that he can make progress.
And when in the next verse in purport, Srila Prabhupada says that we have so many literatures, but if devotee is not able to take advantage of all these literatures, so by this, not take advantage, but he engages himself all the time in Krishna service. So by here, not taking advantage of literatures, it means due to a lack of literary education, he's not able to read them.
Literary or could be just does not have the sanskar to read śāstrī. A lot of people may be literate, but they just don't connect to shastras. They're not able to read shastras. But they can, if they can engage, there are 64, you will learn this in NOD, 64 limbs of devotional service. Yes, Shastra reading is very important, but one could just develop faith by hearing. And one hears and decides that, okay, this life is meant for Krishna service. I want to dedicate this life to Krishna service. And he does so. Then Krishna considers it. It's not reading Shastra helps because it fixes you philosophically. So when things kind of go a little awry, you know where to take shelter. Right? But if one is not able to take benefit of the Shastra because maybe he's illiterate, maybe he just does not have the propensity to read Shastra, and yet he engages in bhakti, in the process of devotional service with full determination and sincerity, then Krishna will take care of that. What's the doubt?
My doubt is what my mind, now my mind might think, oh, you are sincere, it's okay if you don't read Prabhupada's book.
No, that's see, in Krishna, like I said on the first day, Krishna consciousness is extremely scientific. You can't cheat Krishna. He knows what you can do and what you can't do. You know, he knows it very well. Better than you can fool others, he knows you. So if you take shortcuts and you just want to, you know, take an easy path, Krishna knows exactly that you are trying to take a shortcut. You're not going to get the benefit of another soul who's not doing the same thing, but because they are out of their sincerity, but they are just not able to do so.
So, Maji, yes, we cannot fool Krishna, but the mind might trick us like this after reading.
That's the problem of the mind. That's something we have to worry about. That's nothing to do with Krishna and his reciprocation.
So,
being honest is our problem. Honest to ourselves, what we can do and what we can't do. That is for us to. That's what sincerity is. What else is sincerity?
So, Maji, I thought we should just try to follow this entire process given by Srila Prabhupada to the best of our capability, which includes reading, chanting, hearing, everything. So, yes, not able to some days, but we should not always try.
Of course, you should try, but if you're not able to, that should not become an impediment in your progress. So now, let me give you an example. Like Prabhupada, he says that one should speak and hear the mantra very clearly. Have you ever seen Chinese people chanting?
No, Mati, but I've heard that
they cannot pronounce R. So when they say Rama Rama, they said Ama Ama because they cannot pronounce R. So how should we take that?
Mati, but they are doing their best. They're not.
Similarly, a person who's not inclined to read, is trying to read but not able to take advantage, will Krishna penalize such a person and say, you go to hell?
So, Mati, when we talk about not having the samskaras for reading, many of us don't have it because with the phone now, this habit is almost dead. So, we also do not have samskaras for chanting, but every day we somehow chanting and reading, chanting I know, but still we should, one who does not have the propensity, still he should try his best, whatever he can.
Not able to do so, then what?
If he is, he should just try his best. Now, like Krishna is seeing how much.
Okay, you have tried, but it doesn't work. Chinese people try to speak R, doesn't work. What can they do?
Then nothing. Krishna will see the effort only that he's tried.
So it's the same case with people who try to read but don't have the sanskar to read.
But they should keep trying, right? They should not give up.
Yeah, they tried and it doesn't work. Then you will actually get this clarity when you read NOD, and there are 64 limbs. So Jiva Goswami says that Shravanam Kirtanam is compulsory, but a person should pick up the limb a person has a natural tendency for. Right? Because that's where they can really engage their senses in Krishna consciousness. So if a person is not really inclined to read, but they are inclined to do menial service, they are inclined to serve the deity, then they should do that and they will make progress like that. Provided Shravanam and Kirtanam is going on. What is reading? Reading is part of Shravan, right? Shravanam can happen in many other ways also, right?
Yes.
Can it happen or not happen? What is hearing?
Yes, Maji Prabhupada said reading is also hearing. It is
Yeah,
recorded.
so why are we stuck on literatures, not taking advantage of literature?
I didn't know this point came up, so I didn't want my mind to trick me. So you think
Yeah.
यार कोई बात नहीं चलता है, नहीं पढ़ पा रही ना, कोई बात नहीं, प्रभुपाद ने लिखा तो है, कोई बात नहीं, chanting तो हो रही है, बाकी सब हो रहा है, चलता
Yeah,
है.
chanting ho rahi hai, and yeah, but one has to be careful where the mind drags us. That's our responsibility. Okay, Anandita.
Mataji, you mentioned that first case is that a person is illiterate. There's no chance of reading. They can hear the katha and the books. This is what it is. I have heard this. And the second case, you were saying there are no sanskaras.
No
I
propensity.
want to
People
understand
just
it.
can't read. There are many devotees who just can't read. They can sit in front of a book for 2 hours and nothing goes in.
Okay, goes in. I mean to say you are reading, but nothing is going
Yeah,
in, right?
you can't. You
So
somehow you
this is the
can't.
one thing. And the second thing that you said, they don't have the inclination. So that's wrong, right? They are able to read, they are literate, but they are not reading. Why? Because they don't have the inclination or the mind can trick. Why do you
See,
need to read like
inclination in
that?
the sense that they, even if they try, they're not able to really connect to the shastras. So that just shows that there is no sanskar, no inclination at all. And in that sense, instead of forcing oneself to just keep doing something which you are not really able to, it's better to engage your senses in serving the Lord in ways you can.
Okay, so that's what that also comes when you discuss with your Siksha Guru or Guru Diksha Guru.
Of course,
They
of
tell
course,
you to do this because
of course,
the first. Okay.
of course.
Okay, so how can we understand? Because I haven't, yeah, I have seen, I've heard people, seen here, people, devotees that they are very, they are chanting because Prabhupada said we have to chant. Observing 4 ranks, we have to do. But the reading part, when reading part comes, it really, devotees go far away with reading because they're not inclined actually. They don't want. They are literate. They can read. They can understand. But एक होता है ना अपनी तरफ से ही नहीं कर रहे. तो वो तो फिर आपका खुद का गलती है ना. That's your fault.
It's not. If you are using your senses in serving the Lord in some other way, you're determined and you're using your senses to do something else, which is devotional service to the Lord, one of the limbs of devotional service, then there's no problem. It is obviously beneficial if you can read the literatures because it makes your intelligence strong. And by having strong philosophy, when things go a little crazy, then you can hold yourself together. Obviously, there's no doubt. But in the cases where a person does not do so or is not able to do so, if he's sincere and he's chanting and is serving the Lord in some other way, Krishna will take care of him.
Okay, so they are not reading, but they are serving in some other way.
Yes, that's what Prabhupada is saying. He's engaged in devotional service. He's in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service. Right?
Okay, Mataji. Yeah, sure.
Shruti Priya?
Mataji, sorry for another question. Can you please give the reference, like you were mentioning, Rajiv Goswami has given the commentary on.
You read in NOD. When you come to NOD, Prabhupada mentions it in NOD. When you read about 64 limbs of devotional service, it comes there in that chapter.
Okay, because many devotees, they tend to force other devotees to do some particular devotional service only, whereas the devotee is inclined to do some other devotional service.
That's why when you read NOD, it will become very clear what Rupa Goswami says about this. Okay? 16. Somebody read, please.
व्यक्तुम अर्हस शेषेण दिव्य है आत्म विभूतया विभूतिभिर्लोकान इमांस्त्वं वाप्यतिष्ठसि. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these words.
Yeah, so now he's asking Krishna to tell him in detail about his opulences by which he is present in the material world, in the way he actually makes the material world function. And Prabhupada says, for him there is no doubt, yet he's asking Krishna to explain his all-pervading nature. People in general and the impersonalists in particular concern themselves mainly with all-pervading nature of the Supreme. So Arjuna is asking Krishna how he exists in his all-pervading aspect through his different energies. One should know that this is being asked by Arjuna on behalf of common people. So this we'll see in both the 10th chapter and the 11th chapter that Arjuna himself has no doubts, but for the benefit of common people, he will ask Krishna for certain things. And here he is asking him to show him his opulences. 17.
कथं वेद्याम् अहं योगिं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्तयोऽसि भगवन् मया. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Yeah, so he's saying that please let me know in which other ways can I think of you. So Prabhupada says that again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for the benefit of common men. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he's a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. And then towards the end, Prabhupada says, Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic persons of this world. The world keshu keshu cha bhaveshu refer to material nature. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate the mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representations. So here Prabhupada is talking about the compassion of Arjuna, that out of his compassion, out of his merciful nature, he is asking Krishna to describe himself in a way so that even impersonalists can actually understand him. Impersonalists can also be connected to him. So this is the mercy of Arjuna. And that is the mood of a devotee. A devotee is always compassionate and he tries to give Krishna consciousness to everyone in whichever way they can accept it. Right? Yes, no, maybe. How? Okay. How does that work? Harshita, you're trying to say something?
Maji, I was just requesting you to elaborate on this last statement and the way they can accept it.
Yeah, like some people may be not favorable to accept the holy name of the Lord. You know, you tell them about chanting, they're not really into it. They don't want to take it up. You tell them to come to the temple, they don't want to come. But you take prasad to them and they're very happy honoring that prasadam. So a devotee has to be intelligent and compassionate to be able to think of ways in which he or she can benefit others. You know, what that person can accept in Krishna consciousness. So let me give that person that medicine. And normally prasadam works for everyone. But some people, if you tell them it's prasad, still they accept. And some people you don't have to tell it's prasad and they accept. But prasadam works for pretty much everyone. Okay? 18.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय
तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति me amritam. Oh Janardhan, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words.
Yeah. So in Bhagavatam, this comes that Swadu Swadu Pade Pade, that the more we hear about the Supreme Lord, the more a devotee is hankering for. Because this nectar, that nectar a devotee can taste, can experience, and he wants to know more. Please tell me more. Please tell me more. So in earlier verses, we saw that Arjun was trying to tell Krishna because he wanted the common man to hear about Krishna. He was asking Krishna because he wanted everyone to benefit by hearing about Krishna. But in this verse, he's asking for himself. He's saying that I want to know, please describe, because I just can't get over the nectar that I'm experiencing by hearing about you. So Prabhupada says, now as far as Amritam, nectar is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar. And this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fictions, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying that the subject matter of Krishna consciousness is such that if really one hears with sincerity and with attention, then one would relish it so much that one would not want to stop, that one could taste that nectar. So Krishna Katha is like that. It is extremely addictive and extremely pleasing. Next. Now Krishna will start speaking.
Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Hantate Kathayi Ishyami Divyahi Atma Vibhutaha Pradhanyatah Kurushreshta Nasti Anto Vistarasya Me. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless.
Yeah, so the Acharyas say, especially Krishna Chakriti Thakur, that Krishna says Hanta, that means, yes, I will tell you, with a lot of tenderness, because he's experiencing so much love for his devotee. So he's agreeing with a lot of tenderness that, yes, I'm going to tell you about my different manifestations. And Prabhupada in the purport says in the first paragraph, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or in any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectars. Thus, the devotees enjoy them. In discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss more. So like we heard also in the Chatushloki, Tushyanticha Ramanticha, that pure devotees, they feel satisfaction and they experience bliss. Then Prabhupada says, the word pradhanyata is very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord, for his features are unlimited. So Krishna is now going to start talking about some of his features, some of his vibhutis, some of his opulences, by which one can know him in this material world. Okay, next.
Ahamatma Gunakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Sthitah Ahamadishcha Madhyam Cha Bhutanamanta Cha. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings.
Yeah, so he's calling Arjun as Gudakesh. So this word we have encountered earlier also. It means one who has conquered sleep and ignorance. So he's saying that basically, Arjun, I'm telling you this because you are free from ignorance. So now you have the qualification to accept what I'm going to tell you. So that's why I'm going to tell you about all this. And then he says, I am what? I am the super soul. And Prabhupada says that Krishna first, in the second paragraph, Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from him everything begins. Therefore, he is Atma, the soul of the Mahatattva, the universal elements. The total material energy is not the cause of creation. Actually, the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahatattva, the total material energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, he again manifests himself as a super soul in each and every entity. Like, how does he do that? When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, how does he enter the manifested universes?
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
Okay, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then he again manifests himself as a super soul in each and every entity.
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So we have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of spiritual spark. Without the existence of spiritual spark, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the Supreme Soul, Krishna, enters. So here Krishna is basically talking, he's starting with this, that I am the super soul, I am behind everything. I am the starting point, I am the middle, and I am also the ending point. So Krishna is saying that I am everything. So now he will start talking about some very specific opulences. So these are like in every shloka, he'll give like 3 or 4 opulences. The way he gives is that in a particular category, whatever is the essence, that essence represents Krishna. This is how he's going to talk about his opulences. So let's read 21.
Adityanam ahar Vishnu Jyotisham Raviranshunam Marichir Marutamasmi Nakshatranam aham Shashi. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Marutas, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon.
Yeah, so he's now you can see Adityas. Among Adityas, I am Vishnu. Who's this?
Upendra.
Vamandev.
Vamandev. Yes, this is Vamandev. Among Adityas, the sons of Aditya and Kashyapa, I am Vishnu, I am Vaman. Of lights, I am radiant sun. So Prabhupada says that sun is also sometimes known as the eye of the Supreme Lord. Sun and moon are the 2 eyes of the Supreme Lord. So of lights, and sun is the most brilliant light, right, in the universe. So the sun of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, Maruts are the sons of Diti and Kashyapa. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi, and among the stars, among all the stars, which one is the most brilliant? Moon. So I am the moon. Yes, next.
Vedanam samvedosmi, devanam asmi vasavah, indriyanam manaschasmi, bhutanam asmi chetanaha. Of the Vedas, I am the Samveda. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in living beings, I am the living force.
Yeah, so out of the Vedas, I am Sama Veda, because Sam Veda consists of chants and Hari Kirtan. Among all the Vedas, they are meant for different purposes. Sam Veda has all the chants. That's why we hear that when Garuda flies, so when he flaps his wing, you can hear the verses of Samaveda. So Samaveda is the one which contains all the chants and Hari Kirtan. So Krishna is saying, among all the 4 Vedas, I am Samveda. Of the demigods, I am their king, who's Indra. And of the senses, I am the mind, because it is the most powerful and it controls all other senses. And of the living beings, I am the living force. I am the consciousness which pervades, because the body is what? The body is matter. But consciousness is what? Is a part and parcel of Krishna, the soul. Consciousness means that it is the evidence of presence of soul. Anandita?
Mataji, does the Samved contains only Hari Kirtan, or it contains the chants of demigods as well?
Chants, basically. Chants and Hari Kirtan. Yeah.
So chants, it may be for demigods also, right?
No, I'm not very sure. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly. No. Yeah. 23.
Krishna. Rudranam Shankarashasmi Vitesho Yaksharakshasam Vasunam Pavakashasmi Meru Shikhirinam Aham. Of all Rudras, I am the Lord Shiva. Of all Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of the wealth, Kuber. Of the Vasus, I am the fire, Agni. And of the mountain, I am Meru.
Yeah, so now he's saying that of all the Rudras, there are 11 Rudras in total, who are expansions of Lord Shiva. So among Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Among Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am Kuber. Kuber is the head of all the Yakshas. And of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni, because Agni is the most powerful. And of mountains, I'm Meru. Meru is supposed to be the tallest mountain, and sometimes it also moves. So he says that among all the mountains, very tall and very high peaks it has. So I am Meru. Next.
पुरोधसां च मुख्यं मां विद्धि पार्थ बृहस्पतिं सेनानीनाम् अहं स्कन्धः सरसाम् अस्मि सागरः. Of priests, O Arjun, know me to be the chief Brahaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya, and of bodies of water, I am the ocean.
Yeah. So first he said that among demigods, I am Indra. And who's the spiritual master of Indra? Priest is Brahaspati. So among all the priests, I am Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya, who's the son of Shiva and Parvati. And he's a general of all the demigods. And of the bodies of water, I am ocean, because in the ocean, when water enters, or when, even in extreme summer, the water of ocean, the water level of ocean doesn't change. So I am that unchanged ocean. Risha Prabhu?
Mataji, when we say among demigods, Indra is Krishna's representative, then how we perceive it? Because we hear of mistakes which Indra commits. So do we see that he is empowered, but still he commits mistakes?
No, it does. He's not trying to say that among demigods, I'm Indra in that sense. He's saying that anything which is exceptional or most powerful is actually my potency.
Oh.
Yeah, so Indra, he's like, we hear so many times that a monarch is considered to be a representative of Krishna because he has been given that power by which he can rule other people. So that potency is Krishna's. It doesn't say that, it doesn't mean that he is Indra, or he's we'll come to know about Uchay Shravaya or Airavat. So when he says that among the elephants, I'm Airavat, it doesn't mean Krishna is Airavat. It's just that Airavat is the strongest of all the elephants, and that strength is a representation of Krishna.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Anandita?
Mataji, we also always hear that ocean has never crossed the limits. Even if in peaks or rains, it remains the same, summer, winter, whatever. But we see that when in Mumbai, the Atlantic Ocean, when it crosses the boundary, the flood is there, and it destroys many things, isn't it?
That's high tide and low tide, right?
Yeah.
That's high tide and low tide, but it is like more. It's actually dependent on the position of the moon. But it's not like that ocean does not dry up when there is summer, and ocean does not become overfull when there is winter, when there is rain. That way it remains stable, steady.
Okay.
And it is also the largest body of water. So in that sense also, Krishna is represented by an ocean.
In one of the shlokas, Krishna says, compares as ocean because it's deep.
It is deep. And also in the second chapter, Bhagavad Gita, he says that the rivers flow into the ocean, but ocean remains calm. So many rivers flow and they could be, filled with water, but they flow into the ocean, ocean remains calm. Ocean's level changes, maybe like say tsunami or high tide, low tide, that's a different thing. But when we see an ocean, it does not start overflowing because the rivers are containing more water. Yeah. Okay. Next, 25.
Maharishina Brigura Giramasmya Ekam Aksharam Yajnanam Japayagyasmi Sthavaranam Himalaya. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy name, Japa. And of immovable things, I am Himalaya.
Yeah, so he's saying that of the great sages, I'm Bhrigu. So if you know that Bhrigu was the one who was selected by all the sages to go and actually figure out who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he went and tested Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu and came back with a verdict that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why he's saying that of the sages, I'm Bhrigu, because Bhrigu is he's considered to be most intelligent and, also almost as a head of all the sages. And then he says of vibrations, I'm transcendental Om. And then of sacrifices, Yajna Nam Japo Yagyosmi, that of all the sacrifices, which is the topmost sacrifice, chanting of the holy name. And that is my representation. And of immovable things, I'm Himalayas. Earlier we heard about from the mountains, he said, I am represented by Meru. And then the Acharyas comment that Meru can sometimes move. So therefore, he's saying of immovable things, I am Himalayas. There are certain mountains which move and there are certain mountains which don't move. Okay? Next.
Ashwatha sarva vrikshanam devarshinam cha naradaha gandharvanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo muni. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree, and of the sages among the demigods, I am Narad. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitrarath, and among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila.
Yeah, so he's saying that I'm the banyan tree because it's the most unusual tree. We see with the roots, going up, down, growing from the branches, and sometimes the main tree dries up, but these roots actually result in another tree coming up. So it's a quite an unusual tree, and that's why Krishna says, and also is considered to be a holy tree. So he's saying that among trees I'm banyan, and among the sages and among devarshis I'm what? Narada. So and then of the Gandharvas I'm Chitrarath, and these Gandharvas, they're really trained in singing beautifully, and the best singer of them is considered as Chitrarath. And so he's saying that of Gandharvas, I am Chitrarath, and among perfected beings, I am Sage Kapila. Kapila is the son of Devhuti, who's a incarnation of Krishna himself. Next.
Ucheshahasam Ashvanam Vidhi Mam Amritodbhavam Airavatam Gajendranam Naranam Cha Naradhipam. Of horses, know me to be Ucheshrava, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Airavat, and among men, I am the monarch.
Yeah, so during the churning of the milk ocean, different items came. So the way the demigods and demons decided that you take one, the next one will take. Like that, they were like taking alternate ones almost. So Uchai Shava came, it was a white horse, very beautiful, very powerful. Then the demon said, we will take this horse. And Uchai Shava became the horse of Bani Maharaj. And the next one to come was Airavat, an elephant with 4 tusks. It has 4 tusks. And then Indra said, the demigod said, we'll take it for Indra. So Airavat became, it's a white colored elephant. Airavat became Indra's carrier. And it's a very, very large and very powerful elephant. And it is said that it keeps the mixture of water and wine next to his brains. And he sprinkles that on Indra from time to time, water and wine mixture. So Airavat is quite a fascinating creature. And then among men, he says, I'm the monarch. And this we know, like Prabhupada says it in many places, that the king is a representation of Krishna. Next. And when we talk about this monarch, it is not like the monarchs we see in today's time. It is about the monarchs in Vedic times who were extremely religious and God conscious. Go ahead.
Ayuthanam vajram dhenu namasmi kamuduk prajanaschasmi kandarpa sarpanam masmi vasuki. Of a weapon, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the surabhi. Of cause of the procreation, I am the Kandarpa, the god of love, and the serpent, I am Vasuki.
Yeah. So he's saying, I'm Thunderbolt, because Thunderbolt is considered to be a very, very powerful, very, very powerful Shastra. It even destroys mountains. Indra, when he uses his Thunderbolt, the mountains become like rubble. It destroys the mountains. So he's saying, of all the weapons, I am Thunderbolt. And among cows, I'm Surabhi. Surabhi, why? Because Surabhi cow can give unlimited amount of milk. And also Surabhi cow is such that it's almost like a desire cow. You can desire anything from that cow and that cow can fulfill that desire. And of the causes of procreation, I'm Kandarpa. Kandarpa means the sex desire. The desire for sex, that is Kandarpa, represented by Kandarpa. And of serpents, I am Vasuki. And Vasuki is the one which was used as a rope during the churning of milk ocean. Next.
Mataji, you said Surabhi cows are desire cows. What type of desire? Spiritual desires?
Yeah.
They can start and
if you, I don't remember which canto in Bhagavatam, there's mention about maybe ninth canto. There's a mention that Vasishta Muni had a Surabhi cow, and whenever there were a lot of people coming to his ashram, he could just tell Surabhi cow that I need to feed so many people, please arrange. And then Surabhi cow used to arrange for unlimited amount of food. And when Vishwamitra saw that cow, he desired to have that cow, that this cow should actually come to my ashram. And that's why they had this big tussle during that time. So that's what the Surabhi cow does. You can desire that, okay, so many people are coming, I need food stuff. So like that. Yeah, 29.
Anantaschashmi naganam varno yadasam aham pitranam ahyamachashmi yamah samyam tamaham. Of the many-hooded Nagas, I am Anant, and among the aquatics I am demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors I am Arima, and among the dispensers of law I am Yama, the Lord of Death.
Yeah, so now he's earlier he talked about serpent, and now he's talking about Nagas. They are many-hooded. And serpents are like only one hood, but Nagas have many hoods. So he's saying that among many-hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. And among aquatics, I am Varuna, the head of all the aquatics. And departed ancestors, I am Arima. So Arima is the one, if suppose a particular Pitra has not gotten a good destination, then by worshipping Arima, one can get rid of that particular like that particular ghostly body or that particular destination and come to a decent destination. And then among the dispensers of law, I'm Yama. There are many dispensers of law, but nobody can escape Yamaraj. So then he's saying that, I am Yama, I'm a dispensers of law. Yeah. Next.
Prahlad chasmi daityanam kalaha kalayatamyaham mrighanam cha mrigendroham venatesh yascha pakshinam. Among the Daityas, demon, I am the devotee Prahlad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am lion. And among birds, I am Garuda.
Yeah, so it's a no-brainer. Among demons, he's Prahlad, who's his exalted devotee. Among subduers, I'm time. There are many subduers, but nobody can escape time. When time decides to subdue something, nobody can really escape that. And among beasts, I am lion. Saying I am lion because it's considered to be the most powerful, king of all the beasts. And among birds, I am Garuda because he is a pure devotee of the Lord, a carrier. He's the carrier of Lord Vishnu. Yeah. Next.
Rama Shastrabhutama Ikshanam Karashasmi Strotrasmi Janavi. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the wielders of weapons, I am Ram. Of fishes, I am Shark. And of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges.
Yeah. So there are many purifiers. There's wind, there's water, there's fire. So why is Krishna saying that among all the purifiers, I'm the wind? Any guesses?
Because of its subtle nature. Because of its subtle nature.
Yes, because it's unseen. Like wind works in an unseen way, just like Krishna works in an unseen way. So he's saying that among all the purifiers, I am wind. And wielders of weapon, I'm Ram. So who's this Ram?
Chandra.
It's actually, the Acharya says Parshuram. Parshuram. And of fishes, I'm Shark. Now, Shark, actually the word uses Makara, but Makara cannot really be translated because it's a very strange kind of a creature. It has jaws like a crocodile, scales like a fish, tail like a peacock, trunk like an elephant, and eyes like a monkey. So it cannot really be translated. So it is translated sometimes as fish, sometimes as crocodile, sometimes as shark. But Makara, actually the Sanskrit word Makara has a very different meaning, but close. It sometimes is translated in this way. So among all the fishes, I'm Shark, and of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges, because Ganges is the most holy and most powerful river. Next, 32.
Does it exist, Makara? Material word?
Must be existing somewhere. There's many universes. We don't have experience of Makara in our universe, or at least on our planet, but must be existing in so many possibilities.
Okay. Thank you.
Harshita?
Mataji, how is wind purifying? What does it mean?
Oh, okay. If let me take example that if somebody passes urine, okay. Now how that can be purified? Either by putting water on the road, say, by sun, or by the wind. Wind will just dry and take away the stain. So like that, it is a purifier.
Mataji, but still the smell will be there.
No, wind, if there is the wind blows, it will take away the stench.
It
So
will take some times, like instantly it will not get removed, no, the smell.
no, if the wind blows, see, you can smell it when there's no wind. Then it is, but the wind blows, it will dry it and it will take away the stench.
Because if we see, suppose a garage van is going in front of us, so that smell is too stinky that we can smell it if it is very far away also, because
Yeah.
the wind is carrying that particular smell.
Yeah.
So
But at that place, see, wind will carry it away. Wind will carry it away. So it will, the direction the wind is blowing, that's the direction you'll smell it. In that sense, no? But you would not smell it. If the wind is really blowing, you will not smell it in the other direction. Any other question?
Aditi, for this smell thing, a sun's example is given, right? So, as in the as an extension of the Anvita Mataji's question, like when in a closed room toilet, I mean to say, there is urine or like stool, it smells in the sunlight, both can reach. Then it evaporates fast. The smell goes away fast.
Because in a closed room, the wind is not really blowing.
Right. Wind and sun both are not there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next.
सर्गाणामदिरन्तश्च मध्यं चैवाहमर्जुन अध्यात्मविद्यानां वादः प्रवर्ततामहम्. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle, O Arjuna. Of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth.
Yeah, so he's saying that the reason behind any creation is me, because it starts from my intervention, it is maintained by my intervention, and it also ends by my intervention. So of all the creations, I'm beginning, the end, and also the middle. And then he says, of all the sciences, I'm spiritual science of the self. And among logicians, I'm the conclusive truth. And Prabhupada explains this. Prabhupada says that there are like different kinds of argument. One is called as Vada, one is called as Jalpa, and the other one is called as Vitanda. Now, what is Jalpa? Jalpa is when, you argue in such a way where there is some kind of deception. And the arguments you give are somewhat deceptive to defeat the other side. That kind of an argument is called as Jalpa. And Vitanda means it is destructive, when it is just meant to destroy the opponent. One can resort to any kind of means to destroy the opponent. That kind of argument is known as Vitanda. And Vada is when it is a logical. The only purpose of such an argument is to establish the truth. So that kind of argument is known as Vada. So there are three kinds of arguments that are there. So here he's saying that among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. I am Vada. Among all kind of arguments that are there, what am I? I am Vada, which is only concerned with establishing the truth. So Prabhupada says in the end, this conclusive truth is a representation of Krishna. Okay, next.
But Mataji, when we see that a lawyer, there are two lawyers on both the sides, right? So it had, I don't know much about this, but what I've seen, there cannot be any one conclusion which supports both the sides. They are always in the Vitanda side, right? They have opposite evidences so that they can support or and the judge gives on the basis of evidences. I mean, the judge gives the decision on the basis of evidences. So how should we understand that if we can connect to the this side?
See, not all arguments are Vada. Lot of arguments are Vitanda and Jalpa. He's saying among all the kind of arguments that are there, I'm Vada. I'm the one where argument happens just to get to the truth. The idea is to establish the truth. That kind of argument is represented by Krishna, not Jalpa and Vitanda.
So the true judgment, the logic, the judgment as per on the basis of religious things, right?
On the basis of truth. The
Okay.
purpose is just to establish the truth. Yeah. Okay. Next, 33.
अक्षराणामकारो अस्मि द्वन्द्वः समासिकस्य च अहमेवाक्षयः कालो धाताहं विश्वतो मुखः. Of letters, I am the letter A, and among the compound letter words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators, I am Brahma.
Yeah, so he's saying among all the letters, I'm letter A, because all the consonants are always supposed to be accompanied by a vowel. So that's why he's saying I am letter A. And among compound words, the dual word is dual compound is represented by Krishna. And Prabhupada gives the example that Rama and Krishna, they are both dual compounds. So he says the dual compound is represented by me, and then he says I am the inexhaustible time. So Prabhupada says that among all kinds of killers, time is the ultimate because time kills everything. So among I'm the inexhaustible time, and of creators I am Brahma, because Brahma is the representation of Krishna, and he's been empowered by Krishna to create for the purpose of creation. Okay, 34.
Mrityu sarvaharashaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam Kirti shrirvakcha narenam smritir medha dhriti shama. I'm all devouring death, and I'm the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I'm fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience.
Yeah. So he's saying, I'm all devouring death. So Prabhupada says that as soon as a man is born, he dies at every moment. There's death is devouring every living entity at every moment. But the last stroke is called death itself. So death is a representation of Krishna. So Prabhupada in many places says that a devotee sees death as Krishna, and a non-devotee is very fearful because Krishna comes in the form of Kal. When death comes for a non-devotee, it causes a lot of fear. But for a devotee, he knows that the death is coming, I'm going to be with Krishna after this. So for a devotee, this death is not really fearful. And then Krishna is saying that I'm the generating principle of all that is yet to be. And Prabhupada says, as for future development, all living entities undergo 6 basic changes. They're born, they grow, they remain for some time, they reproduce, they dwindle, and finally they vanish. Of these changes, the first is deliverance from the womb, and that is Krishna. The birth is Krishna. And among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. How do we really understand that? What does it mean?
Magic Prabhupada is writing in purport that these are all feminine, just like Bhakti.
Yeah. So in Sanskrit, a lot of these qualities are considered as feminine. Like, dhriti and, shama, these are all feminine qualities. So what Krishna is trying to say that of all the feminine qualities, these 7 are my representative. These 7 are represented by me. So these are the 7 qualities that have been given. They're feminine and they represent me. 35.
Why only these 7 and why not any quality from men? Why only these 7 for women?
No, not for women. He's saying what he's trying to say is that in Sanskrit, these qualities are considered as feminine qualities, like dhriti and shama. These are considered they are not, how may I explain it? Like power is considered a male quality, but Shama, and by nature, you can, if you know grammar, you can see that this is a feminine word, Shama. Dhriti is a feminine word, right? Grammatically.
Yes.
So in Sanskrit, these are considered as feminine words. So out of all the feminine qualities, these 7 represent Krishna. That's what he's trying to say.
Because these are the best 7 feminine
Yes.
qualities that Krishna represents.
Yes. Okay.
And masculine qualities.
Dhriti, Shama, like that.
Okay.
Right? Okay. 35.
बृहत्साम तथा साम्नां गायत्री छन्दसामहं मासानां मार्गशीर्षोऽहं ऋतूनां कुसुमाकराः. Of the hymns in the Samved, I am the Brihat Sam, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margshish, November, December, and of seasons, I am flower bearing spring.
Yeah, so Prabhupada makes it clear that Samaved has like beautiful songs. And out of these songs, one of these songs is Brihat Sam, which has exquisite melody and is sung at midnight. So Krishna is saying that among all the Samved hymns, I am Brihat Sam. And then he's saying of poetry, I'm Gayatri. And then Prabhupada says that Gayatri mantra is meant for God realization. And it represents the Supreme Lord. And it is given to Brahmanas. So Krishna is saying that among all the poetry, I am Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashish. Why Margashish? Because Prabhupada says, because in India, grains are collected from the field at this time and people become very happy. So that's why he says that this is the month in which people are very happy. So this month actually is my representative. And why Kusumakar? Because in spring, all the trees and plants flower. They look very beautiful because of their blossoms and flowers. So that is why he says, of all the seasons, I'm spring Kusumakar. Next, 36.
Dhyutam chalayatamasmi tejasvi namaham jayo asmi vayo vasayo asmi sattvam sattvatamaham. I am also the gambling of cheats and of the splendid. I am the splendor. I am victory. I am adventure. I am the strength of the strong.
Yeah, what he's saying is that I'm the gambling of the cheats. And Prabhupada says when Krishna decides to cheat somebody, deceive a person, no one can surpass him. No one can out-cheat Krishna. It is just not possible. So he is the gambling of cheats and splendid of the splendor. Of the splendid, I'm the splendor. That whatever is splendid, that splendor is actually Krishna. And I am the victory, I am the adventure and the strength of the strong. So we can see that he says that I am the essence of anything that is there. I represent the essence. Next, 37.
Mataji, I have a doubt. Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Mataji, like externally we behave as a devotee, but internally we know that how much we are inside a water, like how much we are not up to the mark and not behaving as externally, because we have split personality. With devotees we behave as a devotee, but when we are in a home we are in an actual position. So like we attend morning Bhagavatam class and everything what we hear from our acharyas and from the purified devotees also, but the things we are not able to contemplate when we are at home. Maybe the aura that is not available, or every people are not in that particular devotion. So if someone is practicing, how we can attain it? Like for the people who are living in the temple.
how we can avoid a split personality? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
yes.
how we stop living a dual life, like someone
Yes.
else at the temple and someone else at home,
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
right? So, okay. So, first of all, if we are properly situated, then for a devotee, there's nothing material. There's nothing material for a devotee. Everything concerned with a devotee is actually spiritual. Because problem with us is that we see everything in terms of activities, whereas everything should be seen in terms of consciousness. Now, when you are in the temple, the consciousness is, I'm here, I want to hear about Krishna, I want to establish my relationship with him. And if not even that, my guru wants me to hear, my guru has given me this instruction that I should hear. So in that sense, it becomes devotional service. Now we come home and we relate to people on the bodily basis. If we start relating to them as these are Krishna's part and parcel, they are in my life for a certain purpose, and I should see them as Krishna's part and parcel and try to serve them accordingly. Or if I'm going for my job, the reason I'm going for my job is so that I can earn some money and so that I can maintain myself to be able to practice my Krishna consciousness. It becomes devotional service. I'm going to college so that I can get educated, I can help in preaching, or I can get a decent job so I can maintain myself, so I don't have to struggle for my daily maintenance and I can practice my Krishna consciousness. It also becomes devotional service. So it is not the activity which makes anything devotional. It is the consciousness behind it. So all we have to do is we don't necessarily have to change our activities. Sometimes we may have to, but not necessarily. But what we need to change is the consciousness behind that activity. And then this duality doesn't remain. Then you don't remain a split personality. One has to get that clarity that I'm doing this for this purpose. So it is very beneficial to fix the intention before we do anything. If you're coming to the class, what is the purpose of my coming to the class? Am I coming for attendance? Am I coming because I need a degree? What is my purpose for coming to this class? If you're coming for attendance, it is karma yoga. If you're coming for the purpose of hearing about Krishna, then it becomes bhakti yoga. Same effort, very different results, because intention is not fixed. So before we take on anything, before we even go to visit the temple, the activity may seem to be devotional, but if the consciousness is not devotional, the result could be very different. You could be going to the temple and it can still be karma yoga and not bhakti yoga if the consciousness is not properly fixed, if the intention is not properly fixed. So that is the key. Is that okay? Is that helpful?
Yeah, Mataji, how can we fix our consciousness 24 across?
Yeah, so in the initial stages, what really helps is, what helps me is that I put up, like posters or things like that around the room. That, intention, choose Krishna, like that, different words I write, so that whenever I look there, it is kind of a reminder for me that I need to see the reason I'm doing this. I need to fix my intention. I have to, consciously choose Krishna as my reason. So initially you will do it like that, and slowly it becomes a habit. That's how we start.
Mataji, if we do too much, no, it's not too much for being a devotee, but as if we are living in a family, so the people who are watching our activities, that it's too much for a Krishna oriented, is too much for them. So, for example, attending a wedding of a relative, putting a tilak, because every day we used to keep a tilak on our head, but in the wedding also it says, oh, keep this just to your radar, not come outside, or don't show too much to the people that you are following a practice or you are doing something else. Still, we want our consciousness should be in a positive direction, and we want that we should be look like a devotee, or we have to be behave, suppose eating any prasad. So before we have to recite our mantras to have that prasadam. So in a home or living alone, we can do it. But when we are with the family, so they say, don't do it too much, do it internally, or do it in our mind only. Don't show to others that you are doing this such
Yeah,
activities.
that is why Prabhupada didn't call it International Society for Krishna Activities. He called it International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Consciousness is an internal thing. Nobody really needs to know where your consciousness is. You don't have to do anything to really tell people where your consciousness is. You could be very well attending a wedding and dancing in that wedding and yet be Krishna conscious. You know how? So the purpose of my going to the wedding is what? What could be my purpose of going to a wedding? It could be because my family wants me to go, and if I don't go, they will turn against ISKCON, they will turn against Bhakti, because they'll see and they'll say, oh, this is what devotees do, we don't want to be devotees. So this is also, you know, if you are doing it because of that reason, that I don't want to turn my family against Krishna consciousness, and therefore I am going to attend the wedding and I'm going to, you know, mix with people, it is Bhakti. Because the intention is not to harm somebody else's Krishna consciousness, right? So,
Yes.
so it is actually very practical and very easy. It's just that we have made these different blocks in our head. This is material block, this is spiritual block, this is family block, this is friend block. That's where the problem is. But if you are conscious, then in any situation you can be Krishna conscious, and nobody really needs to know. If the family has a problem putting a white tilak, you can use water and put the tilak, which is not visible. It is not the Gopi Chandan which gives the power. It is the mantra which gives the power to the tilak. Mantra protects. It does. Gopi Chandan doesn't protect. We do that so that people can see our Vaishnava tilak and benefit from that. And also we can see our Vaishnava tilak and be reminded that this, I am a devotee of Krishna. This body is meant for Krishna's pleasure. This body is meant to serve him. But actually it is a mantra which empowers. So that you can put with water. Who can know what you're doing? Nobody knows. And if they say that, okay, don't chant your, prasad honoring mantra, loudly, don't do all that. So you can chant it in your mind. Krishna knows what situation you are in. You chant it in your mind. How does anybody know what you're chanting in your mind?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank you. It's a very nice question. Thank you. Okay, next. 37.
Vrishninam vasudevosmi pandavaanam dhananjaya muninam apya aham vyasa kavinam oshana kavi. Of the descendants of Vrishni I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas I am Arjuna, of the sages I am Vyas, and among great thinkers I am Oshana.
Yeah, so he's saying among the descendants of Vrishni I am Vasudev. Vasudev is who? Krishna himself. And Prabhupada says that Vasudev referred to in this verse of Bhagavad Gita as Baladev or Balaram because he is the original source of all incarnations. All incarnations of Krishna actually originate from Balaram. So when he says Vasudev, it actually means Balaram. And thus he is the sole source of Vasudev. Vasudev is what? He is a plenary portion, right? We hear about Chaturvyu, and one of them is Vasudev. So, and the Chaturvyu originates from whom? From Balaram. So Prabhupada is explaining it like that. Of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. It's a no-brainer that among the Pandavas, who's the dearmost to Krishna is Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyas, who's his Shaktavesh avatar. And of the great thinkers, I am Ushana. Ushana is Shukracharya. He is the priest of the demons. And but he's a great thinker. So he's saying that among all the thinkers, I am Ushna because he's a great thinker. Okay. He's extremely intelligent and he knows a lot of different sciences. 38. Harshita?
Mataji, in the example of the previous verse, you said that even going to temple can be karma yoga. Can you please give example what type of consciousness can make going to the temple karma yoga?
I'm going to the temple, so people can be impressed that I come to temple regularly.
Oh.
I'm going to the temple for meet with friends and generally gossip. And many reasons people can go to temple. People can go to Mangala Aarti for different reasons that the whole world will come to know that I'm coming for Mangala Aarti regularly. So one has to be very careful about one's consciousness. Where is it? That's why fixing the intention really works. It is very helpful. Before you get out of the house, why am I going? What's my purpose of going? Is that
one?
Sorry?
Sorry, will you please continue?
No, I was saying, is that okay? So you said something, I didn't hear you.
Mataji, even if someone is doing in karma yoga consciousness, still it will purify and lead one to the proper consciousness.
Yes.
No?
But the power of Bhakti yoga compared to power of karma yoga is very different. Bhakti yoga is, I think we read it in chapter 3rd or 4th. It's like fire. It burns everything to ashes. But karma yoga is a slow progression. So whereas with the same activity, if you can get result of Bhakti yoga, why would you choose to get the result of karma yoga?
So Mataji, these karma yogic thinking is due to our anarthas only, that I want desire for name, fame, and all adoration. So following this process, even if someone is attending Mangalati or attending Bhagavatam class to show that I attend all the Bhagavatam classes, so then also the hearing process will gradually rid us of these.
Yeah, definitely. Gradually purification will happen. But why do we want to settle for gradual purification when we can settle for, like burning everything to ashes instantly? Right? It's just the activity is the same. You're sitting in the Bhagavatam class for 1 hour either way. But if you fix your intention that Krishna, I'm here for your pleasure, I'm doing this as an offering to you, it becomes Bhakti Yoga.
Thank you much.
Kanchana Varna?
Madhji, and what about this mixed intention? Like we see the example of Dhruva Maharaj. His intention was that he wanted the kingdom greater than that of Brahmaji. But in that case, the consciousness got purified when he had darshan of Lord. So he did the activity and the consciousness changed like later on. So like in such cases, like we are discussing, if a person is attending, it is also a kama sarva kama moksha kama dharadi, like whatever you should do devotional service.
So yes, if you do a kama sarva kama va moksha kama udharadi, then will the person who approaches with a devotional mood get the same result as person who approaches with some desires? Kanchana Varana, will the result be same?
No.
So that's what we are discussing, that something that you can get straight away bhakti, why would you settle for a slower process?
Mataji, but Dhruv Maharaj did not do it, did not start it with the consciousness of bhakti, but still he got the result, and that too so quickly.
Yeah, Dhruv Maharaj, the kind of austerity he did, first of all, none of us can really do. And second of all, he got the right mantra from his spiritual master and he followed the instruction of his spiritual master. He had a different desire. He came there, and by following in the footsteps of his spiritual master, following his instruction, he quickly got purified. And at the end, what happened? He said that I was such a fool that I was asking for pieces of glass. Such a fool. And some of the acharyas say, and that's the reason, because Dhruv Maharaj wasn't entirely pure, he had a material desire. That's the reason he could not immediately go back home, back to Godhead. He had to wait 30,000 years. Right?
Okay, Mataji.
Kanchan Varna was going through your head. I can see that there is something still going on in your head.
No, I got it, Mataji. I just had one thing. But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj also, like in our case, Dhruva Maharaj got the mantra from the spiritual master and he was following the process, but his intention was different. So in our case, we are into the process, we are following the right thing, but our motive could be different. So will the result be the same?
You will get purified eventually. You will get purified eventually. My point is, why settle for a slow process when you can go really fast? And we should not take Dhruv Maharaj's example, because the kind of things that he could do, none of us really can. By so much austerity and by following in the footsteps of his spiritual master, he got purified really fast. And he comes in such a amazing family. Look at his family. You know, he is the son of Uttanapad. He is the grandson of Swayambhuva Manu. He is not an ordinary personality. He is not like you and I. We are not going to get the same result as Dhruva Maharaj. Shruti Priya?
Mataji, like continuing with the Mataji's question, like when we are in a family setting and we have lots of so-called duties to do. So if we are just trying to engage those duties in the service of Krishna, isn't that karma yoga? Like when we could have directly be doing some devotional service, but we are just doing those duties and internally trying to like disconnect them somehow to Krishna.
Yeah, so isn't any kind of yoga better than not doing the yoga?
Yes.
Any kind of yoga means there is a connection to Krishna. If you can connect directly in Bhakti Yoga, that is the best. But if you are not able to connect directly in Bhakti Yoga, some kind of yoga is better than none.
Okay. But that will also come in Karma Yoga only.
Depends on your consciousness. What is the driving force? Driving force will determine what kind of result you'll get. Is that okay? Anandita?
Mataji, like Yashyaham Anugrahami and Yoga Kshemam Ahameham. So devotees have given all the answers, all the possible answers, that if Krishna wants that, like we have already discussed, that you can, he will only give when you can utilize it for Krishna, because he knows better than us, right? And he will protect like this, and he won't give if you do not. So and we were also discussing that even if we come with some desire, Krishna first of all purifies it, or during the time of purification, a time will come that you will not have the desire to have it, but he will give. I've seen in my life. So he will give. By the time you will just go away with the desire, oh, it's fine, you got it now. So all these things, when we combine, ultimately the answer is that Krishna knows better than us. He will purify our desires. He may or may not give, or a time will come then you will just go off with that desire. It may be within a day or a few seconds or minutes. Is it?
What's the question? I didn't really get your question.
Actually, Kanchan Varna and Harshita Mataji were discussing the things, and in regard with Dhruva Maharaj. So, and all the things came up in my mind, that this is the way we understand the things, that how can we approach Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna gives or not gives depending on what is beneficial for us in our spiritual life. To Sudama, he gave without him asking. And the Acharya's comment that the reason he gave it to Sudama was because Sudama was very attached to being poor. He was very attached, and Krishna wanted to break that attachment. And also he knew that he would not indulge in sense gratification if I gave him so much opulence. But at the same time, he also wanted to break his attachment to not having any kind of opulence. So in that case he gave, but in a lot of cases he doesn't. Like in case of Prabhupada, Prabhupada uses this Yasyaham Anugrahanami Harishetad Dhanam Shani. This example in his own life, he says that I wanted to first establish Krishna consciousness by becoming a very successful businessman. So he opened a big pharmacy, and he was trying to become a big guy, and that way helped the Krishna consciousness movement. But Krishna had other plans. Krishna wanted to give Prabhupada in a very different way. He just took away everything, and Prabhupada realized, oh, okay, this is Krishna's extreme mercy. He has taken away everything. Now he has made me completely dependent on him. And after that, Krishna gave him so much that nobody could really handle it. And Prabhupada said, I have so much. I started with 40 rupees. And today I have so much that I myself don't know how much. Yeah. Krishna has his own plans. Krishna, when he gives or he doesn't give, it is always for our betterment, and he always has a higher plan. However much we may actually think or justify or argue, but Krishna's working, only he knows why he does certain things and with whom he does certain things. Is that okay? Harshita, last question. We need to move on. Yes.
Sorry, Maji. Maji, if my duty is to clean the house, if I clean the house thinking that it is the house of my deities are sitting there, I need to keep the house clean for their pleasure. And Prabhupada was so particular about cleaning. So if for Prabhupada's pleasure, it is Bhakti Yoga or it is Karma Yoga?
Bhakti. If that's the consciousness, it is Bhakti
Yoga, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, 38. Somebody read, please.
Dandodam yatamasmi nitirasmi jigeshatam maunam chaivasmi guyanam jnanam jnanavatamaham. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am the wisdom.
Yeah, so now he's saying that Prabhupada explains that there are many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down miscreants. When miscreants are punished, the agency of chastisement represents Krishna. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. So that represents Krishna. Of secret things, I'm silence. If somebody is silent, you cannot get any secret out of them. Silence is the biggest secret, And then of the wise, I am the wisdom. The essence of any wise person is his wisdom, and that's what Krishna represents. Next.
Yakchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tat aham arjuna na tad asti vinayat syan maya bhutam characharam. Furthermore, O Arjun, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me.
Yeah. So Krishna is making it very clear that there's nothing in this world which you can really disassociate with me. So everything you can see and be reminded of Krishna. Everything can be used to remember Krishna. The purpose of these verses is that when we move around in the world, how we can connect everything to Krishna. You know, when we see anything good, we, okay, this smell of flower, which is very fragrant, this smell is Krishna's representation. This beauty is Krishna's representation. You know, so whatever we see, it can actually be connected to Krishna. 40.
Nantu asti mam divyanam vibhutinam parantapa esha tuddeshatah prokto vidhute vistaro maya. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences.
Yeah, so he's saying that, you know, nobody can really explain my opulences. And I have just given you like a taste of it, I've just given you a very small percentage to satisfy your curiosity. Because Arjuna was asking him, so Krishna is saying that there's no way I can describe all my opulences. I've just given you a very, very small, a mere indication, so that you can kind of comprehend that this is how one can see Krishna. One can see Krishna by seeing the essence of everything. Next, 41.
यद्यद्विभूतिमत्सत्वं श्रीमद्भूषितमेव वा तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंशसम्भवम्. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Yeah, so he's saying that any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence. Anything extraordinary opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. So whatever we see, which is great, even if we see a person who's very beautiful, and we should understand that this is Krishna's representation. You know, any extraordinary thing that we see is actually Krishna's representation. And that's how we can learn to see Krishna in this world. Jayadvaita Prabhu. You want to say something?
No.
So you unmuted yourself, so I thought maybe you have a question. Okay, good. Last verse. Go ahead.
I unmuted to read the last verse.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Athava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vistabhyaham idam kritsanam ekam sena stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjun, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
So he's saying that what is the purpose of trying to get all this detailed knowledge of myself? With a small fragment, this whole material creation is existing. You know, this whole material, that's just a small fragment. All these things that I've told you is just a very tiny fragment of my opulence. And Prabhupada says in the second paragraph, he is a samurdhava, which means that no one is superior to him and that no one is equal to him. In the Padma Puran, it's said that one who considers Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, becomes at once an atheist. So powerful words. You know, if somebody thinks that Brahma and Shiva are at the same level as Krishna, then they are atheists. The Lord is all-pervading by expansion of his partial representation, the super soul, who enters into everything that is. Pure devotees therefore concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in the transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter in verses 8 through 11. This is Chatushloki. That is the way of pure devotional service. How one can attain the highest devotional service, highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. And then at the end, Prabhupada is quoting from Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, and he says, from Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets its power, and by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Shri Krishna is worshipable. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the opulence of the Absolute. All right, so we are ending here today. 1 minute. If any short discussion is still pending, we can do that. Otherwise, God willing, we'll meet tomorrow. And
Other thing, in the Friday session, you mentioned somebody asked a question regarding for Eklavya and Karna, and you said that Guru decides the nature, and then they were. I don't know much about Eklavya, but Karna was a Kshatriya. He was a very good fighter. So why didn't he get the education? Just because of the body, because he was.
it is not just a skill. Kshatriya also is a mentality. So Dronacharya could sense that he did not have the mentality of Kshatriya. The mentality of a Kshatriya is to fight for the just cause,
Oh, okay.
for protection of others. But in Karna, there is a competitive spirit. It is the spirit of competition that drives him. And if we look at the choices he made in his life, then we can totally understand why Dronacharya decided not to train him. Because he actually sided with Duryodhan and exercised a victim mentality throughout his life. That, I have been victimized, I was not given this, I was, although a Kshatriya, not raised as a Kshatriya, and all those things. So he's not really fit to be a Kshatriya. So that's why Dronacharya did not want to empower him by giving him the knowledge whereby he could misuse it.
So today I was just searching about this, and I read that because he insulted Draupadi also. So that was also one of the cause, like you mentioned about the mentality of the person.
Yeah.
So regarding Eklavya, how should we understand?
And Eklavya also, see, the thing is, a Kshatriya is very righteous in the sense, when his spiritual master told him that, when Dronacharya told him that I will not train you, what did he do? He started observing him from a distance and started copying everything that he was teaching. So that's the mentality of a thief. And that's not a Kshatriya mentality. So in that sense also, Dronacharya was right. He could sense that this person is not properly situated.
But we can see in the example of Ashwatthama, he also did very heinous acts. And he was a son.
That is why in Bhagavatam he is known as Brahma Bandhu. He is not known as Brahmana. He is known as a Brahma Bandhu, that in name only he was a Brahmana, but his actions were not like a Brahmana.
Yeah, thank you.
That is why Dronacharya favored Arjun over him. He didn't really favor Ashwatthama. It is out of his fatherly love that he, was attached to Ashwatthama. But when it came to his students, he favored Arjun over everyone else because he was the most qualified. Harshita?
Mataji, all the disqualifications of Karna as a Kshatriya that we mentioned were also present, maybe to a more degree than in Duryodhan, Dushasana and the other sons, but they were Kshatriyas and Dronacharya trained them.
Yeah. See, the thing is, Dronacharya was actually employed by their father to train all these princes. And second of all, if you read the Shastras, it is very clearly mentioned that Duryodhan was evil, but to instigate him to perform more evil activities was Karna and Shakuni. Every time he would try to forget something, Karna used to instigate that, do you remember you were insulted like this? Do you remember this? So in that sense, he's considered more evil than even Duryodhan. Okay.
Duryodhan also said didn't like the idea, and then when Ashwatthama killed 5 sleeping sons.
Yeah, he actually he did not like the idea.
I think Karna was the one who.
Also, if we see the way Mahabharata battle was fought, in the evening they used to have meals together. Yeah. And when Arjuna went and asked Duryodhan for those 5 arrows, he kept his word. He kept his word and gave those 5 arrows. So, but Duryodhan actually, part of the problem was his father's mentality, which kind of rubbed off on him. part of the problem was his association. And obviously, he already had a bit of an evil nature, but in proper association, in proper mentality, probably he wouldn't have come across as this, the way he did.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Who knows? I mean, we can only speculate about Duryodhan. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for very patiently listening. And God willing, we'll meet tomorrow and start the 11th chapter. Hare Krishna, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.